Now, only having done Yamazaki and Saito's route all the way through, I don't quite know this part of history as well as I should the beginning of it. But I guess I'm gonna find out through Kazuma. So we're wherever the hell we are. My heart was still reeling from Shiranui's revelation that Harada had died in Ueno. So is mine! At first, I wasn't sure if I could bear to listen to another bit of terrible news, but I had to persevere. Please, go on. As soon as I answered him, Kazuma tilted his head downwards and spoke quietly. That's unusual of him, but okay.
新政府軍に投降していた近藤勇が斬首となった。
Dad? Kondo, a paragon of benevolence and leadership. How tragic that he had been denied an honorable death by way of seppuku. And it broke my heart thinking that he was decapitated like some criminal. Ah! For a moment, I remained silent, softly turning these thoughts over in my head as Kazuma looked away.
信じるかどうかはお前の勝手だ。
No. I believe you. When Dr. Matsumoto notified me of Kondo's surrender, I considered this to be the worst-case scenario. I buried the thought somewhere, clinging to the thin hope that he would be rescued, or maybe they would show him mercy for his character. But hearing Kazuma say it, having it become real through his curt, impersonal words, was a devastating blow at a time when I was reaching my limit. So what does this mean for the Shinsengumi now? Kondo proudly served as the Shinsengumi's chief, and without him, I wonder how they would adapt now that they had been put under the microscope.
宇都宮の戦に参加した後、会津で戦いを続けているらしい。どうする？
I'm going to Aizu too. I'm going to go wherever the Shinsengumi men are. Kazuma smirked, and together he and I set off on another expedition north to locate the Shinsengumi. En route to Aizu, it caught our notice that many other travelers were wearing Western clothing, and Kazuma and I feared my kimono would attract suspicion. Thus, I was forced to wear a different disguise, one curated by Kazuma in the clothes he had made for me. He got us clothes? Alright. This is such a strange way that this route is going. Like, at first the whole thing was to just, you know, beat Kondo and Kaoru and no more Fury business. And then Kazuma decided, I'm gonna help you locate the Shinsengumi. Out of the good of my heart, because, feelings, I guess. This is a weird route, and I don't know how I feel about it with everything. I guess we'll get to the end and see what the fuck I feel. I would like to head to Aizu Castle.
冗談ならば笑えぬ。本気で言っているならなおさら笑えんな。お前は今の状況を分かっておらぬのか。若松城は新政府軍に包囲され、厳しい戦いの最中にあるのだぞ。
I understand, but that's the only lead we have about where the Shinsengumi could be. I've missed them 3 times in a row, and I don't know if I could stomach never seeing them. I don't know if I'll ever be able to. I halted myself, biting my tongue to keep from contemplating the worst. Kazuma's expression, however, was as aloof as ever.
仮に連中が若松城にいるとしよう。だが今さらお前がその場に行ったとて、それでどうする？いや、どうなる？
Well,
むざむざ死にに行くようなものだ。愚かとしか言いようがない。
but I'm not trying to do anything once I get there. I didn't need Kazuma's sharp criticism, nor had I expected to come and rescue the Shinsengumi. I just needed him to understand how I felt. Will Kazuma get it? I don't know. I want to see everyone while I still can. I don't know if I could bear the thought of never seeing them again before something happens to them, like Kondo or Harada.
奴らと共に自ら犬死にする道を選ぶというのか。
Bitch, yes! I'm not going to let them kill me.
犬死にでなくてなんだというのだ。近藤勇は罪人として斬首され、その首を三条河原にさらされている。
Sanjo Ohashi, a location in which the heads of beheaded criminals are publicly displayed as an act of Ah!
上野の戦で命を落としたあの原田という男も人間どもにその名を称えられることはあるまい。
Say something else about Harada, I swear to God, Kazuma.
二人とも少し落ち着いてください。我々が争ってどうするのですか。風間もらしくありませんね。娘一人に怒りをあらわにするなど。
Has Kazuma been around other women? Because I feel like he hasn't.
この娘があまりにも愚かなことを言うからだ。
And yet you go after Chizuru. What is your logic?
これ以上話していても時間の無駄だ。俺は他に用がある。行かせてもらうぞ。
Kazuma's biting tone left me feeling so uncomfortable. Nonetheless, he continued on in an admonishing tone. In an admonishing tone. Gee, ugh.
それにそもそも新選組の面々がまだ若松城に留まっているかどうかも分かっていません。
Walking sucks!
私は今から新選組の足取りを調べてくるつもりです。
Okay, I see a missed opportunity. Why isn't Amagiri an option? You can... Amagiri is kind of a sweet boy now that you think about it. Like, he's doing this. He's actually doing this for us. Probably under Kazuma's order, but I think he just does it because he actually genuinely just likes us.
君はその間に風間と話してくるといい。
Amagiri, thank you so much.
いえ、これも私の役目ですから。
Yo, look at him smile! I don't think I ever remember Amagiri smiling. Holy shit. With that said, Amagiri bowed his head and vanished like mist into thin air. My eyes scanned the environment, hitting me with a blast of nostalgia that nearly brought me to my knees. Beside us was a charred hut with a fallen support beam cutting through the middle of it, and my mind immediately filled in the blanks of what it used to be. We arrived at a village, and in the middle was a decayed well, encircled by overgrown weeds. I picked up on the life that used to inhabit this place. Shards of an old bucket were scattered around the well, and an old doll laid in the grass near my feet. There was no mistaking it. This is the village I was born? I asked Kazuma shakily. Kazuma neglected to answer me and shut his eyes. Just then, Something caught his attention in the distance, and Kazuma darted up a small hill to see what it was. To my surprise, we saw... Kaoru? We found him collapsed in a bed of flowers, and my heart dropped. On the side of his ribcage was gauze that had been completely soaked with blood. I was under the impression that he had attempted to treat the injury inflicted by Kazuma, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that he fled to this village in anticipation of death's cold embrace, left to suffer his last bitter moments alone.
すでに息はないようだな。
I took comfort, at least, in the fact that his expression seemed rather peaceful. Part of me almost believed that, after the evening passed, he'd wake up to greet the morning dawn, and we could talk about everything that happened. Just then, a flashback hit me like a speeding bullet. It was from years ago, back when he and I lived in the seclusion of Yukimura village. Brother! Brother! I want to see the field of flowers again. Please, take me.
ダメだよ、あそこは。
Why not?
女鬼は弱いから、危ないところに連れて行っちゃダメだって父様たちに怒られたんだ。
But I was fine. Did you tell them? Chizuru doesn't need help.
それでもダメなんだよ。僕は男鬼なんだから。男鬼は女鬼を守るのが役目なんだから。
I finally remembered. I don't know what caused me to forget years ago. Why, when my village was set ablaze, had Kaoru risk his life to protect me?
なぜなく。
It wasn't until Kazuma pointed it out that I realized there were tears falling down my face. I just remembered something important.
大切なことだと。
I nodded. It wasn't just Kaoru that saved me either. Father carried the two of us in his arms, barreling down the mountain as fast as he could. Afterwards, he took me in and gave me the best childhood I could have ever asked for. I was loved. There are so many people who protected and cared for me, most of all Father and Kaoru.
そうか。
Kazuma didn't press the subject further. The two of us listened to the gentle hum of the wind passing through the forsaken village, grazing against the burned wood creaking far away.
お前の兄の墓を作ってやろう。雪村一族の棟梁の墓をな。
Together we hiked to the highest peak of the hill that overlooked the rest of the village, and it was here that we buried Kaoru's remains. Kazuma kept his eyes fixed on the grave for a few minutes after we finished patting the dirt, and eventually he reached for the canteen hanging on the side of his belt and poured it gently on top of the grave. The sake reflected the glimmering moonlight as it fell from the canteen, seeping deep into the soil. Kazuma was expressionless, watching the alcohol drip from his bottle towards his feet. His eyes glowed with melancholy, and I wondered to myself if Kazuma was regretful about how things transpired between the two of them.
人間どもに里を滅ぼされなければ、かの者が棟梁となっていただろうにな。
His sentiment was so heavy, and it seemed like the both of us were learning how to navigate the nuance of our grief together. For this, I was appreciative. If it weren't for the humans. It was a lofty question, one I would likely ponder for the remainder of my life. Things could have manifested so differently for Kaoru and father. At the very least, they could have made an impact on their people, unburdened by the curse of vengeance that unfairly plagued the rest of their short lives. Kaoru originally mentioned something about wanting to use the Furies to rebuild the remnants of the Yukimura clan, but I think, in the end, all of it was a facade to mask the trauma inflicted by those wicked humans. In essence, Kaoru wanted to preserve the picture of this village and everything it stood for. Maybe, just maybe, he'd wanted to reclaim some of those memories that were viciously stripped from him. Oh my god, a message! I can't look at it. He was just a boy whose every step was met with tragic misfortune. He died just as he lived, alone. It was the only way I could explain the myth of Kaoru without slumping into depression. My wish was that his last moments were painless, that he had been able to reconcile his hatred as he laid in the meadow of the one place he loved.
好きにしろ。鬼の掟でも心の中まで縛ることはできまい。
Demon's Code. A code of law that demands demons never to involve themselves with humankind, never to kill their kin, and never to break a vow. Huh. Now I'm trying to remember, did Kazuma promise that we'd find the Shinsengumi? I can't remember. Okay, something happened upstairs. Don't know what, something fell. Can I ask you one more... Rude. Can I ask you one more question? Rude. I keep hearing thumps upstairs. Demons far surpass humans in strength and ability, don't they? How can you explain what happened to my people? How were humans able to destroy my clan? Kazuma tilted his head, peering into my eyes inquisitively. Perhaps he was testing me to see if I could handle the truth. To be honest, I wasn't sure if I could, but it was a question that needed answering. Eventually.
薩摩や長州、土佐、西の諸藩は幕府を倒すため我ら鬼の力を借りようとした。もともと縁があった風間や白縫のみならず、東国の鬼の力もな。
It was then that they asked the Yukimura clan.
だが、お前の一族は人間同士の争いに関わることを良しとせず、その誘いを断ったらしい。
Having demons as ally was crucial not only for their untold powers, but because having them as enemies was an extremely dangerous proposition. Because the Yukimura clan expressed no interest in helping them, the anti-shogunate domains interpreted. Oh, okay. Interpreted is refusal as a challenge to their authority. That's why my clan was destroyed? That was their justification for killing my people? I cried out in defeat, and Kazuma turned to gaze at the scorched village below the hill. It was futile. The past couldn't be changed.
実の両親を殺した人間どもが憎いか。人間同士の争いには関与せぬ。それが鬼の本来あるべき姿だ。だからお前の一族は鬼としての矜持を貫き、誘いを断った。 だが人間どもは天下取りのため戦を嫌う一族を襲って滅ぼしたのだ。
I directed my gaze towards the floor as Kazuma muttered words of comfort. Can we please substitute floor for ground? Because there is no floor, only the ground, because we're outside! His voice was hushed, hovering just above a whisper, and he continued.
雪村一族のことをお前に詳しく明かすつもりはなかった。だがこの地まで来てしまった以上避けては通れぬことだ。お前は人間が憎くはないのか。
How should I respond? Well, the guide says, I'm just heartbroken. There's a part of me that thinks about how I should hate them. But there's something overriding that angry voice, and instead, I just feel sorrow. I'm just so heartbroken.
悲しいだと。
My real father and mother, as well as the rest of the Yukimura clan. Do you know how they died?
俺も詳しくは知らぬ。ただ襲ってきた人間どもに対し鬼の力を振るうことはなかったと聞いている。自分たちが死してもなお人と争わぬという鬼の誇りを貫いたのだろうな。
All anyone should be concerned about is helping out their fellow man. Surely, we all had this goal in common. It just breaks my heart to see that people are so willing to inflict pain on others.
そうか。悲しいか。
Kazuma took this opportunity to console me, rather than refute me, and he nodded quietly. There was a kind twinkle in Kazuma's eyes, which I had noticed to be uncharacteristically placid when I looked at him.
そうだな。戦わずに過ごすことができるのならば、その方が良いのかもしれぬ。
Yeah, about that. Eventually, we fell quiet, naturally running out of things to say. After a moment, Kazuma broke the silence by muttering to himself.
人は皆愚かな生き物だ。仮に戦を望まぬ者がいても、その裏では必ず他の者が戦を望んでいる。だから鬼は人に関わることを避けた。俺はこれ以上こたびの戦に関わるつもりはない。無論お前も関わるべきではない。
Kazuma. I had no intention of being anywhere near this war either. But there was so much I needed to do, namely, learning the fate of the Shinsengumi. Understandably, we were still deeply involved with the war and whatever outcome awaited them.
俺とて新選組の連中を案じるお前の焦りを理解できぬわけではない。
Huh?
だが奴らに会いたいのならばまず冷静になれ。焦りに駆られて戦の渦中に飛び込めば奴らに会えぬまま無駄死にすることになるぞ。それはお前の一族の者も望むまい。
You're right. As Kazuma said, I had been impatient all this time. Kazuma was often blunt, if not outright rude, but he was speaking honestly, and I could tell that he was genuinely worried for my well-being. That I knew for sure. Thank you for looking out for me.
お前の愚かさに目が離せぬだけだ。
Recklessness?
他に何と言えばいいのだ。
Bitch.
そもそもお前一人では若松城にたどり着くことすらできまい。
Although Kazuma was once again snidely chiding me for being so meek. For some reason, I found his delivery endearing, and his words snaked their way into my heart. Amagiri said the same thing that you did, Kazuma. He said that we have no way of knowing whether or not the Shinsengumi will still be at Aizu Castle by the time we arrive, so I should wait. So for now, I guess I will wait until we know for sure. Kazuma scanned me, his eyes thinning with satisfaction.
ようやく我々の言に素直に従う気になったようだな。その調子で今以上に俺を敬え。それが良妻となる第一歩だ。
Damn it, Kazuma. Way to miss the point. Besides, I'm not your wife, Kazuma. After scoffing at Kazuma's suggestion, I turned to get one last glimpse of the immaculate scenery around us. All I'd wanted was to reunite with the men of the Shinsengumi, but even more so, I couldn't bear the thought of letting the deaths of my paternal parents, father, and Kaoru be in vain by wasting my life so unwantedly. I had to make absolutely sure to pick and choose my battles, as Kazuma put it, wisely. As Kazuma and I left the village, I put the image of the charred ruins behind me, and instead carried the resolve to honor my people and their sacrifice.